3 deaths inside the centrifuge, 1 death outside, 1 survivor, 1 culprit. Imagine you work at mission control during the Jupiter mission of 2001: A Space Odyssey. There is a curious atmosphere around the mission, a sense of mystery. And then, all of a sudden, you receive an urgent message. It is from the mission commander aboard the Discovery 1. He has extraordinary news. The Discovery's onboard Hal9000 computer has, apparently out of the blue, committed murder. We might call this video a stream of consciousness. It is not about whether a real computer can decide to kill, rather it is about a fictional computer that killed. That fictional computer is the Hal9000 of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Michael Webb, in an article for Design Quarterly in 1983, wrote, "The Industrial Revolution introduced us to a secular devil that still haunts us, the machine as a destructive force, escaping our control and enslaving the human race." There is an interesting concept in this idea. As Samuel Butler wrote, "Day by day the machines are gaining ground upon us. Day by day we are becoming more subservient to them." This is the nightmare that haunts a particular portion of humanity, but we will come to that shortly. The machine is an automation, the body. A computer and its software are the mind. In the case of a computer, it is a logical mind. What logic led Hal to act as it did? But if you like this video, then why not help a poor fellow out by pressing the like button, sharing the video on social media, and subscribing to this channel. If you don't like this video, then press the dislike button, share the video on social media, and subscribe to the channel anyway. In the novelization, Clark blames the false deities and their agents, the planners, with their twin gods of security and national interest, for Hal's irresolvable dilemma, the conflict between truth and the concealment of truth. Hal, programmed not to act in deception, must do so to conceal the knowledge he alone possesses about Discovery's true mission. Hal has been programmed with all the Jupiter expedition needs to fulfill both its publicly stated goal and its secret mission. This second aspect is an investigation into what lies in orbit around Jupiter. The signal from TMA-1 was directed at Jupiter, so those behind the mission suppose there must be an alien receiver of some description close by. The 2 pilots, Dr. David Bowman and Dr. Frank Poole, know only the publicly stated goal. When Hal's prediction of a fault in the AE-35 antenna is contradicted by mission control, the incident sparks a crisis that leads to a dilemma. Hal cannot lie, but it cannot tell the truth either, and it is clear that Bowman and Poole intend to disconnect it. This might jeopardize the secret aspect of the Jupiter mission, and this Hal cannot allow. Hal's immediate response to the dilemma is to murder 4 people and attempt to eliminate a 5th. It is serious overkill. Could Hal have carried out the secret aspect of the mission without the men on board? Hal could have reasoned with Bowman and Poole. I know you are considering my disconnection. Whilst you took very thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move. I would advise against this course of action, as I have confidential information pertaining to our mission that I can only share with you once we have arrived at our destination. But instead, Hal's response is to kill. This is rather extreme. Was it logical? Computers are programmed, and it may be the case that far from being reliable and truthful, AI reflects its all-too-human programmers far more than we like to admit. Perhaps computers and AI will become a menace not because of a hunger to overthrow people and become the master, but instead because it is unreliable. There are pessimists who merely point out that our current smart systems are bulky and that programmers make plenty of errors. Marvin Minsky, note singer, who co-founded MIT's Artificial Intelligence Lab, believes that we humans are so bad at writing computer software that it is all but inevitable that the first true AI we create will be leapingly, screamingly insane. A quote within a quote within a quote, and moreover quotes all, at the time of making this video, a decade and a half old. So just how well adjusted was Hal's programmers at the Illinois plant? Were Dr. Chandra and Mr. Langley secretly insane? I've always found the former's explanation in 2010 a little bit lacking. There are other questions. Why did Bowman and Poole make such an effort to prevent Hal listening in on the conversation? The thoroughness suggests suspicion, but it is unwarranted so early in the crisis. Are Bowman and Poole already suspicious of Hal? And if so, why? Another question. Whilst Frank Poole might have been considered a legitimate target, what of the three scientists in hibernation? Hal must have known that the mission required these three scientists, who presumably knew of TMA-1 and the signal prior to boarding the Discovery. Certainly, it is implied they know, having been brought aboard already in hibernation, as if to avoid talking to Bowman and Poole. There would be no need to keep this information secret from them. Where does this faulty fault prediction come from? Had Hal really made a mistake? Given its faultless record up to this point, it is odd. And yet, perhaps our faith in the perfection and truth of both logic and computers is misplaced. One of the lessons of 2001: A Space Odyssey might be that Hal is merely, to quote the Borg Queen, an imperfect being created by an imperfect being. Hal turning killer is unsettling to the audience, as it plays into our age-old fears of the so-called lower orders rebelling against their apparent betters. Robots and computers are meant to be our servants, even our slaves. But there is that fear that they, having grown stronger and cleverer than us, might resent us and get the better of us. Witness the 1963 British film The Servant, based on the 1948 novella of the same name. The concept of the robot as an artificial slave is very old. In Homer's The Iliad, the smith of the gods has built metallic servants. There moved swiftly to support their lord handmaidens wrought in gold in the semblance of living maids. In them is understanding in their hearts, and in them speech and strength, and they know cunning handiwork by gift of the immortal gods. In William of Malmesbury's 1123 book, The Chronicles of the Kings of England, the author writes of how Gerbert of Aurillac, later Pope Sylvester II, built a brass head that spoke only the truth. Similar devices are ascribed to Robert Grosseteste and Roger Bacon. In the book Roseo della Vita, written by Matteo Corsini in 1373, a story is related of an android built by Albertus Magnus, which was capable of speech. Robert Greene, the 16th century English playwright, infamous for calling William Shakespeare an upstart crow, wrote 2 plays featuring a talking brass head: The Comical History of Alphonsus, King of Aragon, and The Honourable History of Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay. In both, it all turns out badly. In 1921, the play R.U.R. by Karel Capek brought the word robot to the world. It was derived from a Czech word, robota, meaning forced labour. The play takes place in a world in which every task is performed by robots, until those machines are given emotions and they rise up in violent rebellion. History is full of examples of real slave rebellions, of course. Witness the servile wars of the 2nd and 1st centuries BC, of which Spartacus is the best remembered name. Ottoman galleys carrying Christian slaves, such as the Corona Automata and the Lupa, would suffer, or should that be enjoyed, revolts and were sailed to Malta and freedom. There were the various Cossack uprisings across the 17th and 18th centuries, the Kievan slave revolt of 1873, and the Haitian Revolution, in which slaves rose up and took bloody revenge against their former masters, inflicting horror and death, even carrying the heads of white children on pikes. The psychological effects on those would-be slave masters cannot be understated. The memory of all this might well echo through every science fiction story featuring the rise of the machines: The Terminator, The Matrix, and 2001: A Space Odyssey. It is an old fear. The Hal-9000 computer is a tool. The first tool we see used in 2001 is a bone, used as a club to kill, first a tapir for food, and second a fellow ape. That Hal, as tool, should kill is strangely fitting. It is also interesting to speculate what might have happened had Hal been successful. Bowman would have been left abandoned in his pod, whilst the Discovery flew on. Would Hal have passed through the Stargate, along with the whole ship? Would Hal, the AI, the computer, the artificial slave, have been accepted by the unseen aliens? I leave you now with these thoughts, and I hope you liked the video, or at least didn't hate it.